Hi guys, so I've decided to actually do this blog thing, not to become an influencer, but actually to offer some advice and some help. So I'm starting the series of I don't know how many episodes and just talking about things that I picked up over the last 30 years. And the first thing that I'd love to share with everyone here, whoever is listening, is around target setting, achieving your goals, success, and kind of just overall happiness. So a couple of topics I'd like to cover in this is around fitness, nutrition, physical well-being, thinking also about potentially relationships, like how you can act towards different people and how sometimes they can act back towards yourselves. Transitioning times for people. I'm at the age of 30 and there seems to be so much happening around me, not just with my career, but with my personal life and even some of my older friends. And then finally, just around, I suppose, anything that you find useful, really, life hacks, ask me whatever. But it's going to be a short clip, this one. I'll try and keep it to 5 minutes. So firstly, on target setting. So just want to share some of my most proudest achievements and then explain a little bit about them. So this one here was a League Cup final win against Blackrock when I used to play in Clongowes. Played in Templeville Road against St Mary's. One of my proudest first achievements on the rugby field, vice captaining Clongowes in the final and beating Blackrock, which is always nice. That's in 2007. And then here is a Provincial Towns Cup medal I won with my local club, Boyne, who I'm very proud of because they are my local home club. And yeah, that happened nearly 10 years ago in not Templeville Road, in Naas Rugby Club, playing against Tullamore, where unfortunately I actually tore my cruciate ligament, which is very painful. But life has its ups and downs, and I've come back. And yeah, I guess that year I also ran my first marathon, the Dublin Marathon, which I put on this list here, you see, because with any goals you set yourself, I mentally find it much easier to write it down and really hold myself accountable. So I wrote this list, obviously back before 2009, where I wanted to achieve a couple of marathons. As you can see, I've run 3. Berlin, I'm aiming for 2020, and then hopefully New York when I'm still in my 30s, sometime in my mid-30s maybe. So 5 marathons. This is one of my hardest and my first one, the Dublin Marathon. Ran it in a 3:12 time, which wasn't bad because I was training with Boyne, winning that Towns Cup, so that was not a bad year. And then, that was in aid of a friend, actually, that influenced that because his dad died of cancer, or a heart attack, rather. So it's for Irish Heart Foundation. So quite sentimental, that one. This one, again, for a very good friend of mine who knows who he is. And this was for his sister who had breast cancer. I wanted to run this marathon, the Paris Marathon, in aid of raising funds for Irish Cancer Society. So this is still probably the most meaningful medal that I have. It's also my own medal that I haven't got engraved yet, but I ran a time of sub 3, which is pretty cool. So 2 hours, 58 minutes, and definitely one of my proudest achievements. In the same year, that was when I got this jersey. This is from a NBA World Cup with Wharton Business School, if you've heard of it. We beat them in the semis, and that was quite a nice thing to do, which was just to change with my opposite number, the other winger on the day, in the semi, and we beat London Business School in the final. So that was a pretty good week, actually, that weekend, running the sub 3, and then in Danville, winning the NBA World Cup with Smurfit. And then only more recently, I wrote down London Marathon on that list, and I achieved that, not the one just gone, but the year before, so as you can see, in 2018. That was something that I was really proud of. Had to have this chip to take my time. It was my slowest time, but that day was the hottest marathon on record. So happy that I finished it. And obviously along the way, it's important not just to run into marathons, but to do half marathons. That's Clontarf. Did a 1:34 for that. I did a run in the dark, which is fun, which I'd strongly recommend. It's at nighttime. It's also in aid of a good charity and cause. If you want to check it out, runthedark.org. Similar also to something like the Darkness into Light, which just happened this weekend. And yeah, so that's the goal setting. like I love doing this because it's achieving things not for your personal gain as well. Like, of course, you feel part of a bigger purpose. I met amazing people along the way as well, like in Irish Heart Foundation, for the Dublin one, particularly in Irish Cancer Society, amazing work that they do there. And then even more recently for multiple sclerosis, which my granddad had, and one of my mum's very good friends as well. So all very meaningful medals to me. But I think what I'd like to share is that, that also along the way, one opportunity leads to next opportunity. So obviously I work in quite a decent company where it's full of opportunity. And I had the chance to speak at a retail summit one time back in 2017, and then I got the chance to do it again in 2018. But before I did that, I got a nice invitation to speak in the Convention Centre, Dublin. And that was pretty amazing, sharing stage with C-levels, and really got me in the door, kind of establishing myself as a public speaker. And I really enjoyed that experience. So yeah, that's my quick run through on target setting, like writing things down, really understanding what you need to achieve, and kind of, I suppose, connecting to people, and feeding off the energy. And one thing that I know in the last 30 years, it hasn't always been easy. I have had ups and downs for sure, like any normal person would. But I think that a few key messages. So one is, and if I'm just being interrupted by my dog here, Blue, I'm just recording, so hi Dot, this is real live recording. So yeah, so I've written a few things down, but I'll share them personally. So I found that you can dwell on the past and you can think of things that really affect you. So letting go of things doesn't mean forgetting about them. It just means you stop carrying energy of the past and into the future or into the present. And in terms of things that have worked well, always putting time into future thinking. So world changing quite rapidly, as we know, pace is changing, it's accelerating. But what matters less right now is what we've done, and what matters more to you is probably what we will do. So if you're able to see things for what they are and how they can grow into the future, you'll put yourself into a great position to lead, whatever that may be. So for me, I worked in performance, brand, learned a bit about mobile, and now I'm working in a retail space, which I love and enjoy, and a growing business, which is important. You feel you're part of something bigger. Second one is to take time to learn how others see the world. So one of the greatest things about the human race is that we are all inherently different. From ourselves, even in families, around the world, globalization, we've got to meet I've met some incredible people who have very different viewpoints and perspectives. It's important to acknowledge we have to respect those views. We don't always have to agree. But we respect their opinions and their viewpoints. And this actually enriches our views, right? So we all have prejudices that can limit our own experience. And this is why I love to spend time with other people and globetrot and really open your mind to sharing new experiences. Some of my biggest life lessons have actually come from people who are sometimes the most unlikely sources. And it's important just to remember that these things can grow you, and diversity is kind of that richness that others offer. Probably thinking a bit different from ourselves. Final thing I'd like to share is always trying to be of value or of service. So there is nothing demeaning about putting yourself at the service of others, whether that be for a charity or a business or even for another person. I think it's a privilege, and it's an ethos that I picked up with my family and what I'd learned at school. In Clongowes, like one of the mottos was men for others. And it's important to practice what you preach, because I think some people understand the phrases, or men and women for others. But it's, show that with your actions. So always do your best. Something my mom taught me. Thanks, Mom. Always do your best, and always do your best for others around you too. I think that kind of energy attracts other people towards you, and that law of positive attraction, it's a real thing. In this busy world we live in, where everyone seems to be focused on their own business, their own agenda, it can sometimes be quite depressing to think that there is no real value placed on relationships. In fact, engaging and serving others is hugely beneficial. Like the charity stuff that I was talking about, it gives you kind of a much bigger purpose, more meaning to your life. You feel more interconnected, and it's what really gets me out of bed every day, each morning, going to work even. So it's a time that the success of business is usually not just founded on great products, but it's also important to have good business relationships too. Now, I'm conscious that I've run double over time. I'm sorry I've kept this to 10 minutes. This is my first attempt at blogging or vlogging. I'd love to hear more from what you would like to see me do or talk about. As I said, I'm happy to talk about fitness, nutrition, life hacks, you name it, cereals, as you can see above here, my favorite cereals even, what I like to eat for breakfast. You tell me. The whole point of this is that I want this to be like a creative project, something that I suppose I can engage with others with, and hopefully you found something useful. Thanks for listening, and please subscribe. You can follow my next episode. I'll post it on Instagram when it's ready. Cheers, guys. Take care. Do your best.